Patricia, I don't know, are going to say a few words, and then anyone else who wants to, please feel free. You don't have to, but you're welcome to.
First of all, I want to thank this lady, Karola, for taking care of my sister and our loved one, Greta, for her last years. And without her, I don't know, Greta would have been gone a long time ago. But she not only just took care of her, she made her life enjoyable. She went out with a bang. She went out to dinner. She went places and saw things and wasn't like among the living dead stuck in a nursing home someplace. And we want to thank Karola for that because she's been a stalwart. She's been the strong one. She's been the one that's done the things that none of us were able to do for Greta. And anyway, this is a tribute to her also because behind her and probably in front of her, there's many other people she's done the same thing for. But for us, this was a gift from God, and we thank her for that. A little background on our relationship as a family is my sister was my stepsister. She married my father, our father. When my mother was in her 30s, and it was kind of a love at first sight between Greta and her stepmother, my mother, Mary. And when my mother was in her 40s, she found out that she was pregnant with me, and that was a really high-risk pregnancy. So it was a shock. And so Greta came to live with her stepmother and her father, my father, and helped take care of my mother and me while still in the womb. So you can say she knew me before I was born. She did. And she was there when I was born, and she lived with us for 3 years after I was born. So she was like my second mom, and I called her Dee Dee, and she was probably one of the most special women in my life. She was a stalwart for me also, and someone that I could always depend on. And she moved back to New York and to Connecticut and finally to Colorado. But we always kept in touch, and whenever I needed guidance of any kind, I was on the phone with her or writing letters. And for my 60th birthday, she presented me with a package, actually two manila packages, and I said, "What is this?" And she said, "Open it up." And it was every letter that I ever wrote to her or she wrote to me since the time I was 7 years old. Yeah, and also letters from my mother, her stepmother, and all through the times when my mother was going through her cancer, she wrote, because my sister was one of those people that you could pour out your heart to, and she could make you feel like you were going to go on. And she always gave good advice, and more than anything, she was an epitome of grace and style. So as a woman, for me, she was my ideal. I was blessed to have two beautiful sisters that I adored and a wonderful brother. And by Greta, which she would tell me stories about the days in New York when she borrowed her landlady's mink coat and went to dance in all the fancy places, and they thought she was an heiress. But she was poor, but she was never, nobody ever knew it, and she worked very hard all of her life. And here in Colorado, I think she made a big difference with her friends. I know she did in her family's life, and she will always be with us because I still in my mind hear her speaking to me, and I know what she would tell me, and it's not always the norm, but I know sometimes who it comes from, because she was such an incredible, insightful person. So who's going to speak next? That's all I can say because I'm going to cry.
You did good.
I'll do my little, I wrote a poem because I'm not a writer. Okay, choose your voice. I'm Linda. I'm Rita's niece from Jackson. And my father was her youngest brother, Bill. So anyway, here's my poem. Stylish and beautiful, gracious and kind. A hair out of place you never would find. Matching shoes, matching purse, makeup and more. Now we're ready for the grocery store. Always a lady and loved to have fun. She would make silly faces second to none. She loved her mountain, named after her with a G. Table Drive neighbors, a great place to be. Richard and Bob, great husband and son. A golden life, mountains and fun. Even in her 90s, frail and weak, she would find a way to give us a wink. I can handle this, she would seem to say. Here we go. And with my faith, all will be okay. Don't worry about me, I've had a great life. I've loved Colorado, being mother and wife. Our world's not the same without you here, but you taught us all there's nothing to fear. We miss you so much. From your faith we can tell your spirit is soaring and all will be well.
I would like to thank everybody for coming. Really, when I first moved to this neighborhood 25 years ago, Greta went out of her way to give me a list of all the neighbors. You get one, Pat? Addresses and phone numbers. Of course, this was before email. But it was priceless, and she made me feel so welcome. Then they did a little cookout and got to meet everybody, and it was just so nice. I mean, I wouldn't have met all of you and the connections that we've made and the good friendships that we've made without Greta. So I just want to thank you all for coming. Thank Greta and thank Karola. Thank her nieces for coming to Florida. Her sister Jane, Dennis from Costa Rica, and Hank for coming up from, are they still here? Oh, there you are. I'm sorry. For coming up from Colorado Springs. So it's just wonderful that so many of you were able to come. Thank you, and this is a great neighborhood. I love it. When I first moved here, my husband came, he worked at Coors, and he came home and he goes, we have to go back to Golden. And I'm like, you just got home from work. And he said, well, I need you to look at a house. And we've been looking over here, and I said, we can't afford it. You know, ate dinner in a rush, hauled the kids into the car, came all the way out here, and he goes, I already signed it. You did what? But it was probably the best thing that we ever did. So I'm really happy. It's a great neighborhood. I mean, after 25 years, I still love it. And thank you all again. And thank you, Greta, wherever you are, for watching over us.
Thank you, Greta.
And I would like to say thank you, Patricia, for hosting this and for being so welcoming to all of us and our family.
Our family, yeah.
We count you as part of our family now.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yes. Hank, would you like to say something?
So my name's Hank Haynes. And just like Mary Jane explained, Greta was my cousin, my first cousin. So my mom was born in 1917, and her mom, my grandmother, was born much before that, but they were basically, her mom and my mom were having kids at essentially the same time. So Greta was born in 1921, and she and my mom grew up basically like sisters. And through the years, so many wonderful stories of just taking care of each other. We moved to Evergreen, Colorado in 1960. It was long before we ever met. So we moved to Colorado in 1960 and lived and grew up in Evergreen. And Greta and Dick and Bob moved here in Golden. Gosh, I can't remember exactly when that was, but I guess I just wanted to share that she was like a second mom to me. She was my cousin, but she was more like my aunt, and she was more like a second mom. I think one of the exciting things, my mom was a health food medic, so she was very, very strict about things we used to eat. So we never had white bread, never had regular peanut butter. You know, to have jam was something we didn't have a lot of. So when we come to Greta's, though, because peanut butter and jelly sandwiches on Wonder Bread with peanut butter and that sort of thing. So we spent through the years growing up. We'd have Easter at our house. We'd have Thanksgiving at Greta's. We'd have Christmas at our house. And I just echo what Jane has said, and Linda, and Lisa. I'm sure what you're feeling is that she was. She had a spirit of, they said, of grace. She had a spirit of whatever was bothering you or concerning you, she would seem to know, she had a sense of kind of what you were feeling. And she was able to offer those words of encouragement, or just a hug that sort of made everything just right. Whenever we used to come and stay, sometimes after I graduated and went off, we'd come back and stay. And it was such a treat to sit in the Colorado room, as she'd say, out there. And in the morning, Dick would get up and he would make eggs, scrambled eggs with things. And then he would wash the windshield of the car before I was leaving on a trip someplace like that. So he was Dick was just such a wonderful gentleman. He was gracious, and that's how Greta was. They complemented each other so well. They were from that age where the little things made a difference in how they treated people, and they really excelled. So I guess I just wanted to share with you who all had the opportunity to live close to her and see her in so many, over all the years, that we were all blessed by her. I just guess it's nice to go away with the memory of knowing, as you said, that her last years were in an environment where someone was taking care of her and loving her every moment of every day, and seeing that she was able to engage and be with those around, and all the parties that you put on, and all the things that you made just special. Karola, thank you very much for all that. And I just want to say we were all blessed to know her, and we'll see her all again one day. And that wonderful reunion, and what a fantastic thing that's going to be. So thank you very much.
Okay, Scott. I lived across the street from Rita for 22 years. And the first time I saw her and she was standing there, everything that everybody has said is validated. She was a princess. I mean, there's no way around it. There she was, she was a princess. And the same as everyone said, she was kind of everybody's mom. And anytime you had a problem, she had the best advice. She just knew what to say. And my first husband passed away, and it was not pretty, and she was there every minute, and she basically kept me going through the whole thing with the things that she